friends, I'm here with another interesting topic for this week. I know last week we discussed farm machinery, in which I looked at the meaning of farm machinery, the types of farm machinery, as well as the various sources of farm machinery. But this week I'll be looking at another interesting and exciting topic, and the topic is forest and forestry management, in which also I'm going to look at the meaning of forest, forestry, as well as forest reserves. Then again, I will look at the importance as well as the vegetative zones in Nigeria. Why don't you remain focused and pay attention to all I will discuss with you. Thank you. Forest and forestry. Before I look at the details of this topic, I need to define some terms, which are forest, forestry, and forest reserves. Therefore, what is a forest? Before I define forest, let us observe this carefully. From this, what are you seeing? You can see a tree, that's the grown-up one. Then also the one that are not up to a tree, that are called shrubs, they are also here. The next that are not also up to the shrubs are called herbs. You can also see from this. Then finally, you can even see grasses. So therefore, this is a forest. Why? Because a forest is an area of land that consists of trees, shrubs, herbs, and even grasses that are either grow naturally or are planted artificially. Then let us look at forestry. If you have ever been to any university, you will notice that there are various departments in the university. We have the animal science, the crop science, and the forestry and wildlife, to mention a few. Forestry is a branch of agriculture that deals with the control, production, management of forest and its resources. While a forest reserve is that special land that is under the control or supervision of the government, that is allocated through forest guards to farmers for their farming purposes, while they are advised to plant economic trees for the government. Economic importance of forests are it provides timbers. It serves as a source of wildlife animals, a source of firewood, a source of planks that are used for furniture making, such as making of doors, windows. It provides employment for forest guards. It also provides income to the government as well as the farmers. Some of the leaves serve as medicinal herbs, just to mention a few. Vegetative zones of Nigeria. And can someone tell me how many of these vegetative zones do we have in Nigeria? Yes, do I hear you say 4 or 5? Beautiful, 5. There are 5 vegetative zones in Nigeria. And these are Sahel savanna, Sudan savanna, Guinea savanna, rainforest, and mangrove and freshwater swamp forest. For time's sake, I'm going to consider all the savannas as one. That's Sahel, Sudan, and Guinea as one, before looking at the rainforest and then look at mangrove and freshwater swamp forest. I want you to take interest or particular attention to the characteristics in each zone, talking about vegetation, the soil, as well as the climate. Happy viewing.
the day we'll ever be seen, more to do than can ever be done. There's far too much to take in, more to find than can ever be found. But the sun rolling high through the sapphire sky keeps great and small on the endless round. It's the circle of life, and it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and love.
Mangroves are trees and shrubs that cluster along coastlines, including bays, lagoons, and inlets. Living in or adjacent to the intertidal zone, they straddle two worlds. Here, the daily rhythm of the tides, an extraordinary range of creatures live in a mangrove forest. Some stay here full-time. Others come to spawn. 3/4 of all tropical fish are born here. Beautiful and delicate organisms seek refuge. Countless reptiles and birds call these forests home. Underestimated the value of this quiet, unflashy forest that turned out to be one of the most productive ecosystems on mangrove forests. And
Rainforest.
It is fitting that we begin our journey across the biomes of Earth with the one that we perhaps hold the most distinct layers. Starting at the ground, and we have the forest floor, which is littered with fallen vegetation from upper layers. In the hot and wet conditions, and in the presence of huge numbers of scavenger insects, millipedes and the like, this litter is reduced rapidly. Combined with often heavy rainfall, this soil is further leached of nutrients, so despite the biodiversity going on above, the soil is remarkably poor, abundance of grass. Above ground but under the canopy, we have the understory, where still only 5% of light can penetrate. Here are found shrubs as well as seedlings of the main tree species, which will fully develop if a gap opens in the canopy due to the fall of another tree. At around 20 to 40 meters in height, we arrive at the canopy itself, an almost continuous layer of leafed branches of the main tree species that have grown to this height in competition with others for sunlight. This layer often connects trees together to act as highways for wildlife to move from tree to tree, from ants and lizards to rodents, sloths and monkeys of the year. Flooding in the lower Ganges basin throughout the dry season also keeps most of Bangladesh in the natural evergreen type, although again most of these forests are gone due to extensive agriculture to feed its massive population. Angiosperm group, namely those plants that produce flowers. Among these are the more famous hardwoods such as mahogany, teak.
Forest management practices. Forest management practices, I'm going to talk about the following. Forest regulations. Forest regulations are laws that are made by the government which is aimed at preserving or conserving forest trees and other forest resources. Some of these forest regulations are: it is prohibited for any persons or group of persons to enter into the forest reserve, to start cutting down trees without taking permission from the government. Similarly, it is also against the law for any hunters to go into the forest and hunt for animals without taking permission. Farming activity is not also allowed by farmers without taking permission from the government. The next one I want to talk about is selective exploration or exploitation. It involves the practice of cutting down the most mature trees while allowing the immature ones, that is those ones that are not mature, to sometimes grow to maturity before cutting down for timber and furniture purposes. Another type of management practices is regeneration. It is a process or practice whereby already cut trees, such as the stump we are seeing here, are allowed to regrow to a full tree again. And this can be done through the use of the seeds or through the use of the stumps. While stumps are the leftover after falling down of a tree. Another management practices I'm going to also talk about is afforestation, which involve the planting of trees where they have not been forest previously, either through the use of the seed or seedlings as the case may be. Then finally, deforestation, which is a continuous removal of forest stands or trees without replacing them. And this can be as a result of bushfire, or they are not the needed species, or as a result of urbanization. It can also be for timber exploitation. Thank you for watching my video this week. I know it has been an interesting and exciting one. I hope to come your way next week with another interesting topic. Bye.